Hi, everybody. This is a chair practice that I love doing with the patients that I work with. Now, please understand that there is some element of checking in with the body in this particular practice. So if we find that today is a day that checking in with body sensations is just not going to work for us, that is okay. We might save this for a later day. And then likewise, if we're doing this practice and we're finding that it is at the end of the day not working out for us, again, that's okay. We can pause it where we're at. Maybe we return to it, maybe we don't. Again, be gentle with yourself and remember that we're respecting what our experiences are telling us. So what we might do in our seat is we'll just see if it's okay to find a breath in right now and to find a breath out. And maybe that's all we need. Can I find a breath in? Can I find a breath out? Now we might pause here for a moment. And maybe it feels okay to start adding in some movement. So we can keep our eyes open, we can let our eyes close. This is entirely your practice today. If it feels okay, we might take a moment and just let our arms come up towards the ceiling. And we'll let our arms eventually come back down. We might repeat that. We just let the arms come up towards the ceiling. We eventually let our arms come back down. Now we don't have to do it at my pace. You might find you're naturally going faster or slower. These are just here as general guidelines. And just the act of deliberately moving, that's already doing some wonderful benefits for us. We don't have to go further if that's not going to work today. If it feels okay to add in our breath, maybe we can think of it in those terms of reminders. Maybe as my arms are coming up, I'm breathing in. And as I breathe out, it's my reminder to bring my arms back down. So we might think I inhale, my reminder to bring the arms up. My exhale is a reminder to bring them down. It might be vice versa. The raising the arms reminds me to breathe in. The bringing the arms down reminds me to breathe out. Could we try this 3 more times? And absolutely no rush. We're going to finish when we're ready to finish. When we're ready to let our arms come down, we let them come down. Maybe it feels good to move a little bit. We might add in some twists for the body. So we might take a moment. We might just get tall through the body. We might take a breath in. On the exhale, could we twist to one side? And as always, right, left, doesn't matter. We're doing both sides eventually. We just let the hands go where we need our hands to go in order to feel supported, but we're going to try our best not to crank that twist, not to force it. Just that first little bit of resistance in the muscles. Now, could we be here and breathe in? Could we be here and breathe out? That inhale, if that's possible. That exhale, if that's possible. Maybe one more breath in. Maybe one more breath out. Now we might come back to center. And again, we might just think I'm a little taller than I was before. I'll take a breath in. When we're ready, we'll twist on the other side. And again, it's any kind of twist. The only rule is we're not trying to force anything. We don't need the twist to be as twisty as possible. Just something that's going to work for the back. Now we might be curious about how it feels to breathe while we're in a twist. The torso does change things up a little bit, might feel different. And could we notice that difference if we breathe in? If we breathe out? Maybe one more inhale. One last exhale. We might come back to center and we might find we need to move a little bit. Maybe it feels good to just shimmy the legs around. We'll do a little bit of warming up for our legs. Now, if it feels okay, we might see if we can lift up one knee. Now the toes might stay down or the foot might come off the floor. We'll see if we can slowly bring it down with control. Likewise, the other leg, we might lift it up nice and slow, but also slowly letting it come down. We're not letting gravity decide how fast we're going right now. So maybe we can lift up, very slowly bringing it down. Maybe the opposite leg comes up. Very slowly it comes down. Now, could we try this with our breath? Could lifting up the knee remind us to breathe in? And lowering it remind us to breathe out? Lifting up the knee, breathe in. We breathe out as the knee comes down. Maybe one more on each side. We'll take a moment here. Again, if we need to move, we could move. Now we might find some kind of cross-legged stretch, and it's very important to check in with ourselves. Some people might find shin on top of other leg feels great. If this doesn't feel good, maybe we're crossing at the knees, maybe we're crossing at the ankles, maybe we're skipping the cross entirely. Whatever we found, we'll do a little moment to check in. Knees okay with it, hip area is okay, that back area, especially our tailbone area, is okay. And we'll also notice the sensation level right now. If we feel we're already at our limit, we stay here. Our muscles are just like our mind. Too much too soon, they'll lock up. If it feels okay to lightly lean forward, we could lightly lean forward, but nothing too wild. Again, we're not really stretching anything right now. For all intents and purposes, what we're doing is telling our muscle fibers, it's okay to relax right now. In the same way we would never relax if someone shouted at us to relax. Same with a stretch. We're coaxing it moderately and with our breath. Now we can stay with this. This has great benefits. If we find that checking in with the body would be okay, I invite you to notice any sensation. Maybe it's the stretch sensation that might be somewhere around the hip. Maybe it's the sensation of the leg as it's on top of the other leg. We decide it doesn't have to be specifically the stretch. Now, not trying to predict anything, not trying to predict the outcome. Could we see what happens with that sensation as we breathe in? As we breathe out. Again, whatever we're noticing, can we hold it in curiosity? What changes, if anything changes, as we breathe in? As we breathe out? Could we observe that for 2 more breaths? Now we might be ready to come back up. And nice and slow, we can come out. We might need to move, adjust, whatever we need. We might try it on the other side when we are ready. And again, it's any kind of cross-legged. Might be shin on leg, knee to knee, ankle to ankle. We're not crossing the legs. We're doing that same check-in like we did before. Knee is okay with it. Tailbone and hip area are okay with it. And likewise, if we ever get any pins and needles or any kind of sensation that seems to shoot down the leg, that is our cue to ease back. We're pressing on our sciatic nerve. Now we might stay here. Some people might lightly lean forward. But again, we want to remember too much too soon, it'll all luck up. It is okay for moderate to be enough. And is it okay to notice sensation right now? As always, if the answer is no, no is valid. It just means that we don't do this right now. But if we can, I invite you to pick a sensation. That might be the stretch sensation. Maybe it's leg on top of leg, arm on leg. We decide. And without trying to predict the outcome, without trying to make an outcome happen either, can we just notice what happens as we breathe in? What happens as we breathe out? Is it okay to notice and just be curious about if anything changes for 2 more breaths? Well, as always, if we feel we need to stay here for a little bit longer, we can. But if we're ready to come out, we can as well. We can uncross the legs. They might need some movement after that. And what we might do is just finish out our practice just with the hands on the heart in any way we want them to. And Sometimes it's nice just to close out the practice by noticing that natural pressure of hands by the heart. And again, if we like to stack the palms, we can. Press palms, interlace fingers. Really no right or wrong way to have the hands at the heart. Now, does it feel okay to breathe in? And breathe out. And is it possible to pick a positive word today? Something that resonates. And knowing that we can hold this question in curiosity too, we might not have an answer. Could we ask ourselves, why is this the word that resonates right now? And maybe that gets a breath in. And a breath out. The hope and the resiliency that is within me acknowledges and honors the hope and the resiliency that is within you. And I thank you for your time. And I thank you for your practice.